but I'll try my best to make sure that I am able to communicate what it means to build quickly and predictably at scale. And I'm going to be speaking, of course, from our experience as a business at Gopaddi. Often, time and again, in business meetings, in Teams meetings, you hear we talk about predictability. We want to be predictable, we want to build, we want to ship things. Now, I used to tell people things that a lot of people come to me and tell me that, oh, Jeremiah, I have this very delicious idea. I want to have a startup, right? I want to build this product. But one thing people do not understand is that it is very easy to build a product until when it is time to build the product, right? People often think that what it takes for you to build a startup or what it takes for you to have a tech company is that you just have the idea and then you go ahead and execute. And with the advent of AI, a lot of people would think that they can vibe code their way to the next unicorn. But that's not always the case, because a lot of people do not realize that beyond just ideation, beyond just putting together the idea, there are a lot of things that happen in the in-between. And this is something that most of the times you cannot outsource, because you would have to ensure that all of these I's are dotted, all of these T's are crossed before you can move a product from its ideation phase down to the part where it is shipped. As much as it was very important to plan, we realized that planning was not just a ritual for us. It's not just something that you gather people in a room, you gather stakeholders in a room, and you do. It was something that was a continuous process that fed our execution pipeline. We didn't just see planning as an event or something that we do. For us, planning shaped how we built our product. So it is in these planning processes or in these planning meetings that we get to clearly define what we want to build, when we want to build it, and when we want to ship those things. Yes, grab slide. Yes. Okay, sorry. So I said for us as Gopaddi, one of the things we've done is we've baked in the act or the system that helps us execute efficiently into our processes. Now, it has become something that has literally become a culture for us, because now, even when plans change, we can naturally shape-shift into whatever new direction we are taking as a business, because we have a clear system that helps us identify how to get things done. And over the course of my presentation today, I'm going to be explaining how, as a business, we've been able to predictably ship products. Now, when I say products and features, they may sound very, very, very common or small to you, right? But for us, my team members are here. They know the kind of things that we call product and features. Some things that we call features are actually someone else's startup, right? For example, I remember we had to build email marketing solution into one of our operating systems. Now, for some people, that is a full-fledged startup idea, but we built that as a feature in one of our operating systems. And how were we able to do that in record time? I'm going to be showing us that today. So you can go ahead with projection of the slide, please. Okay, next slide. I think we're done with this. So let's start from here. All right, so many teams, like I said earlier, many teams plan so well, but what's now the problem? Why are they not predictable? Now, there's also one very misconstrued thing in the business space, and that is the difference between growing and being predictable. A lot of businesses have sacrificed predictability on the altar of growth. Now, you may be asking, Jeremiah, what do you mean? Growth and predictability, are they not the same thing? They are not the same thing, right? Growing means I'm in point A. I want to get to point B, right? I move to point B. That's growth. Predictability, what predictability says is that I can move from point A to point B over and over and over again. So what predictability does is that it helps you repeat success While you can grow using Fluke, of course, people grow using Fluke, and as businesses, sometimes we come together and then we put the numbers together that, oh, in Q1 is ending already. We put together the figures, Q1, we want to get this done, Q2, we want to get that done, right? Why all of those things are good, and then if at the end of Q1, let's say we wanted to do 20% in growth, and then we are able to get 20% in growth, sometimes figures like that can actually be misleading for business owners, because it's just like this in our local parlance when they say push and go start, right? When a car is bad, if you push it, it starts. It gets you to your destination, right? But when you come back the next day, you would have to do the same thing, right? But what predictability does for you as a business, that even though you are growing, you can repeat such kind of cycle. Let's say, for example, now in Q1 we're able to do 20%. Predictability says that in Q2 you can conveniently do another 20% or even more. And the only way that is going to be possible is if you have systems that help you automate the art of getting things done. Next slide, please. I talked about this already. Next slide. Okay, here. So for us at Gopaddi, one of the things we've also done, like I said, we try to bake in execution and the art of shipping things from the very first release cycle that we had. And we came up with a product delivery system that helps us clearly define how products go from discovery phase down to when they are built and when they are shipped. Now, for us, it doesn't just stop when these products ship, right? Because, of course, this product eventually gets shipped, right? But the process or the steps that happened between when we're in discovery phase down to when it is shipped, a lot of things happened. A lot of data was made available, right? For us, we go back and then we analyze whatever it was that we had done to get us to this point. And what this does is that it helps us understand what worked for us, what did not work for us, and how we can repeat that success. Now, over the course of the coming slides, I'm going to be explaining each and every one of these processes. So please, next slide. Now, discovery creates possibilities for us and not priorities. Now, for most people, like I said earlier, some people just think building a product is all about coming up with ideas. And just as Madam Dolapo has said, sometimes you may build product that people do not want, right? And recently, someone reached out to me, a very good friend, by the way, and he said, "Oh, Jeremiah, I know you are somebody who is very enthusiastic about tech. So this is this idea I have. I want you to be on board as an advisor. Advise us on this thing and what to do." So I asked him, "Okay, what are you building?" He said, "Okay, I want to build an app that does XYZ." So when he said that, I knew that I had seen one platform that does the exact same thing. For him, he has a very delicious idea. By the way, his idea was actually great, but he just needed to have like something that would make him different from what was already in the market. I now said, "Okay, have you checked this platform?" He now said, "No." "Have you done market research?" He said, "No." Now, the problem now for me then advising him was that this is somebody that thinks he wants to build products, thinks he has a very nice idea, but then he's oblivious of what is happening in the market and what is already in the market, right? So for us, while we get signals from different inputs about what to build, that does not define or create priority for us what we eventually get to build. What these things just do, they just help us feed our backlog on the kind of features we should have on our platform, the kind of products we ought to build next, but they do not clearly help us prioritize what features we are actually going to build. Next slide, please. Okay, so after the features have, of course, come in via different channels, via different signals, the next thing that we do is we prioritize these things. Now, one of the things that I would consider unique about our prioritization process is that the CEO does not get to call the shot, right? As much as he has authority over the company, when it comes to prioritization and deciding what gets built, at that point, we do not just trust the opinion of the business owner. We subject all of these opinions and all of these intentions to data that we have available to us. And when this thing is subjected to data, we use scientific processes, which I'm going to explain in the next slide, to now decide which of these features get to make it to delivery or to our development pipeline. Right? The CEO does not call the shot. Even though sometimes he may try to influence this decision based on, of course, he's a business owner. He still technically has the final say. But we have created a structure such that we can decentralize that decision, not just to the business owner. Every other person gets to have a say. The product manager, the head of engineering, and the architects, they get to contribute on what gets done first. And as you can see on the screen, decisions are made by economics and not by opinion. We do not just build because we want to build it or because someone says we should build it. We build it after we subject all of these features to our opportunity cost. Now, I will share a story with us. Back in 2024, when we set out, there was this feature that our group president loved so much. It's a calendar feature that helps you book meetings and share links to get it done. Now, from May 2024, that feature did not make it to the development pipeline until October of 2025. Even though in all of the prioritization events that we had before October 2025, he had one way or the other tried to influence to get it done. But by the time the data was put together and everything, we realized that this was not something that we could do now. Now, when we eventually built this feature in 2025, we realized that if we had done this thing 2024, it wouldn't have been of any value or much value to us as a business, because as of that time, our customers did not really need a calendar solution, right? But 2025 was a perfect time to get it done because we had subjected the feature, of course, to all of what you can see on the screen. Business value, time criticality, the risk reduction, or the product enablement value. And then, based on the WSJF, which is the weighted shortest job first, we decided, okay, this is time to build this feature. And it was done. Even the product managers that owns those products do not get to call the shot on what gets to make it to delivery pipeline. Because sometimes product managers can be very happy and excited about features, but they are not exactly things that we can ship out quickly. And then why this also helps us as a business is that, for example, we have developers who joined us in 2024. After the first 2 release cycles, these people grew with the business. So what that meant is that if this person could ship XY as of 2024, by the time we got to 2025 and 2026, this person could ship XYZ, right? Which meant they grow. Now, if we were now going to reprioritize this feature in 2025, it means we are going to be taking into account the fact that the developers that would have worked on it in 2024 have also grown in their craft and in what they do, and they can now get this done in shorter time. And so, hence the reason why the calendar feature had to even make it to development in the first place. Next slide, please. And then, after we have prioritized our features, the next thing we do is we go ahead as a team to carry out feature grooming. And this feature grooming, we get to break down these features and clearly define what is going to be the makeup of each and every feature that we are taking in, right? And after this feature grooming has been done, for most of the times, where the problem comes in terms of delivery is that teams do not clearly map out what is required before they start building. And when they start building, dependencies begin to come up. Things like enablers that were not seen from the beginning begin to just pop out from nowhere, right? So what feature grooming does, it helps the teams to break down these things to the barest minimum so that they can know what is dependent on another team and how they can get this done. Now, what you can see on the screen is a typical example of our release cycle planning board. For us, every release cycle is about 3 months of 5 iterations, and then there is an IP iteration before the next release cycle. Now, what you may be seeing on the screen will just be sticky notes and a lot of things connecting these sticky notes. But for us, for every developer, for every individual at Gopaddi, this means something to us. Every sticky note represents not just a feature, it represents value. And we can look at this board and and say that we have not just planned. Now, what we have here, we have all the teams that we have in our organizations. We have about 21 teams right now. Our developer strength I think our engineering team is about 160 persons currently. And then we'll have over the different iterations that we have. Now, what we do is that on this board, we are able to map out inter-team dependencies. We can see that team A would need something from team B so that they can get this delivered by iteration 2. And because we can clearly visualize these things, we can always refer to the board and just see what this person is supposed to deliver at this time, and then we can have it done so that predictability and delivery does not get slowed down. So like I said, this helps us to collaborate as a cross-functional team. And in cases whereby we have teams that support multi-value streams, they are also able to plan their work and ship according to what they've planned. Next slide, please. And then, as I said, it doesn't just stop from when we build these products, right? After building, we subject our process to data that has been collated over the course of our development period. And what you can see here is just a snippet of what our inspect and adapt, a QQM event looks like. Now, as you can see, you would see that over here, over the last 4 release cycles, we've done 93% predictability, 98%, 120%, and 90% predictability. Now, for us, we are able to grow in this because we do not just see planning as something that defines what we do. We see it as something that should have execution baked into it so that our successes can be replicated over and over again. Now, I can pride myself as a product owner who supports team, who ship products, because I know that if you take me to any team, I can easily replicate that. And the reason why I would say that confidently is because over time, I've been able to build a structure, I've been able to build a system that helps me tell if this thing is going to work or not. So sometimes I can look at what we have to deliver over the course of a release cycle. And in iteration 3, I can tell you that, honestly, I do not think this thing is going to make it. We are not shipping at the end of this RC. And then, of course, contingency plans are done. But for us, we use this data to inform on the next features to build and how we should build them. Next slide, please. Okay, then you want to ask, so how are you guys able to achieve all of these things as a business? Now, I'm going to be speaking on how we're able to do this based on 3 pillars. And these pillars are decentralized product ownership, systems thinking, people, and culture, right? For us, we do not just realize that, building is just about having the right developers. Yes, you could have the right developers and still flop, right? It's not about just decentralized product ownership. Now, imagine that if these 2 pillars were not here, this thing goes off. Or if these 2 pillars are just the ones that we have. So over the next slides, I'm going to be explaining how decentralized product ownership helps us become efficient. Now, this is a traditional model of building things, right? So this is a traditional model of building things where the person at the top calls the shots and says what gets built. Managers just come and tell the developers, this is what we are building, and this is when we should build it. And the implication of that is that we now have a pipeline that is very choked up, and of course, if it was in the petroleum industry, I would say the pipeline would get burst, right? But the pipeline becomes choked up, and at the end of the day, the team does not ship anything because one person at the top just keeps on bringing features every single day. Right, but for us at Gopaddi, one of the things we did is that we realized that decentralizing product ownership would help us move faster. And so we came up with this model that we call the CEO product managers. CEO product managers, what they do is that they are solely responsible for the ROI of their verticals or their products. And these products, not only are they responsible for the ROI of their products, they also are responsible for analyzing market signals, interpreting customer feedback, and maintaining product roadmaps. So all of these things they do, of course, is subjected to data, like I've said earlier, and we decide on the things to do. Next slide, please. And then when it comes to systems thinking, For us, because of the magnitude of what we are building, what we have is an ecosystem, and we have a lot of moving parts interconnecting with each other. We realize that, or we have come to realize that it is very important for us to not just plan, but identify bottlenecks even before they become a problem to us. And because we have mastered the art of planning and executing these things, we are able to tell from day one that, okay, these are the things that may potentially be bottlenecks for us, and these are how we can mitigate these bottlenecks. These are the risks that we have while building these things, and these are how we can mitigate those risks, and then we get those mitigated. And then one of the things we're also big on as a business is our culture. Our culture, we like to pride ourselves as a business who has this people-first culture. And in everything that we do, we want to put our people first. We want to put our people first because at the end of the day, happy people build great products, right? If your developers are not happy, if your team members are not happy, whatever they are going to be churning out would not really be up to par, right? So we understand that when you make the people happy, they are excited and then they get to build great stuff. And not just happy, we understand that it takes a team that trusts business owners for them to get things done. The teams do not just want to know that as a business, you get to pay them at the end of the month. No, they want to know that as a business, you also have a heart that connects with them. And businesses that do great stuff are businesses who have a heart, right? What you can see on our screen, we usually would have our demo sessions every second week of an iteration. By the way, we are having 2 of it coming up this week. So if you're interested to just join and see what Gopaddi is about, you could just reach out to me after the session. I would share a link that you can use to join the demo session. So our demo sessions are very interactive and very playful. Now, I think you should join the demo session because I don't think words can capture how free we can get, not minding that we have business stakeholders in the room. And the reason why we can do that is because we enjoy what we do and we can playfully show all of these things that we've done. Please, the slide before this one. You took my time, so I think it's okay. I also take like maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes of your time. So. Now, one of the things I want to leave us with, even as I let go of this mic, is I want to challenge you with something today. Even as you go back to your businesses, even as you go back to your business planning, your sprint planning, I want you to ask yourself this question honestly. Are you struggling as a business because you do not plan enough? Or are you struggling because you do not have systems that makes predictability guaranteed? Because the truth is that at the end of the day, anybody can plan, right? Anybody can organize planning meetings. Anybody can come up with roadmaps. Anybody can come up with product documents, right? But where the real work is in execution. And that is what most people do not, or what they fail to see. Not just execution, but building a system around execution. Now, I want to charge you, even as you go back to your businesses today, don't go back and plan more, right? Go back and build systems that help product delivery to become predictable. Because businesses that would make a mark or that will win in the next coming decade will be businesses who master the art of not just building products, but shipping when they say they will ship. And there's this thing we will say in our organization, ship, baby, ship. So for you to get to that point where you ship, baby, ship, you have to build into your process an execution strategy that lives out or plays out itself, even when you are at sleep.
One full release cycle, a 3-month cadence, takes us from opportunity to delivery to learning and back again. At Gopaddi, product managers are CEOs of their products. They are accountable for ROI. They analyze market trends, rhythms, and dynamics. They collect customer feedback and set product direction through their roadmap. From these signals, opportunities are identified. They are shaped into clear, well-defined features, ready for evaluation. Not everything can be built at once, so prioritization decisions are made using metrics. We weigh cost of delay against cost of implementation. This is not about opinions. Not even the CEO calls the shot. Value does. Once prioritized, features are socialized with teams. This creates shared understanding before planning begins. With over 160 people involved, alignment doesn't happen by chance. It's something we design, deliberately. Execution happens in small, focused teams. Each team owns a specific domain within Gopaddi. 4 to 6 engineers focusing on building, supported by a product owner who focuses on value and a team coach that ensures the team works together. These teams are organized into 2 value streams. Core teams don't work alone. They're supported by shared teams across testing, security, DevOps, data engineering, AI, and design. These teams don't sit on the sidelines. They bring in deep expertise where it's needed most. And design sits at the center of strategy, shaping what we build before we build it. Portfolio leaders define business value and steer the value streams. Architects guide technical trade-offs. Business owners negotiate priorities with teams. Regular streams keep everyone aligned. Product owners collaborate with their teams. Together they break features into actionable user stories. Teams ask questions, refine scope, and identify dependencies. Teams call out risks early. We roam risks, resolve, own, accept, mitigate, before planning. Business leaders respect team capacity. When higher priority work arrives, they negotiate trade-offs, not overload teams. Dependencies identified by teams are shared early. They are mapped on the value stream planning board. Full RSP planning brings everyone together. VS coaches facilitate the event. Teams commit to delivery. The solution-trained engineer coordinates cross-value stream dependencies. Every 2 weeks, teams demo what they've built. They show real progress to business and stakeholders. Feedback is immediate, and improvements happen quickly. At the end of the release cycle, we inspect and adapt. We compare what we committed to what we delivered. We take our learnings, and we carry them forward into the next release cycle. But